Greetings, Internet. Welcome to Aaron Plays. I hope you're doing fantastically well. In this video, I'll be doing upfront continuation, Scenario B, which is City Fight. It's an opposed play with Randy, who lives in America. In the beginning of the previous video, I said, we're 2 decks through the 3 decks. I'll do all 2 decks. Nah, it takes a long time to actually narrate and play, longer than actually playing what we did. So we're obviously playing cards, boom, 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 which is not very good for a video. So I'm describing what's going on, narrating it, probably adding a little bits of fluff here and there. The videos get longer and longer. So I thought, halfway through the first deck, I thought, this has gone on for long enough. That'll do, cut that. And now I'm going to start the second half of the first deck. See how long that takes. Probably that will include that. And so therefore the 2 decks we've played so far, because that's as far as we got in that particular time frame that we had. We're continuing again sometime next week. So that should then take 6 videos to get through a 3 deck game, which normally takes about an hour and a half to play. So it's about right. Half double the amount of time, isn't it? Each video is about half an hour. So anyway, rather than me just waffle on and obviously use up more time, and you'll listen to me thinking, get on with the game, Mr. Sibley, get on with the game. Let's get on with the game, and I'll take you down there. Oh, and remember to like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. See you soon. So as I said, we're halfway through the first deck, and that is denoted by this symbol here, and obviously deck 1 showing there. I'm not going to go back through what's happened. Go and watch the first video. I'm going to go straight back into the action, other than the last card play, which I picked up my first building card. This card is not very useful. This card's not very useful. In fact, that one's no use at all because we're too far away from each other. I might be able to just squeeze that if he gets going closer. And yeah, conceal -1's not bad. But we're up to, as you can see, we've done the Russians. So it's over to Randy, and he just discards and draws into his hand. So what am I going to do now? I actually discarded that high fire card and drew a movement card, which is nice because now I have a movement card to get me to the building, and I have a concealment card. Not a great concealment card, but something that helps me move towards that building. Remembering, buildings are what earn victory points in this particular scenario. What does Randy do with that? He discards a card. Still having problems with his interface. Doesn't seem to work brilliantly with Max. And he draws a card into his hand. What do? I move forward my Group B, which is my fire team, effectively, with the LMG there. So they're moving forward. The aim is to get them in that building. I've increased the relative range to 1. And I drew another terrain card into my hand, a wall. Not so great. I'd rather have had a decent fire card or a better concealment, but you get what you're given. Randy discards a card, so he obviously a suitable fire card to fire on my moving group, draws back into his hand, and I plonk that building onto my group, discarding the movement card. And I draw a rubbish fire card. So, yeah, thank you very much for that. The German Group B also moves forward. Increases the range. I discard a card. Discard 2 cards. Did I discard more than that? Let's have a look. No. Picked up an alleyway and a rally. Keep it. A rally card. I've got no one pinned at the present moment, but keeping a rally card available is a good idea. and because I had nothing to really fire on him with enough firepower, he plonks them in a building as well. And then he fires fire value of 1 from, I believe, this group. Yes. Range 3 to each other here. So he's got 2 firepower, which is enough to generate this card. Fire at my guys who are in the open. I played that concealed -1 card I had, and he draws 5 cards to resolve the first. Oh dear, look at that, a 4. My guy's morale is a 3. Sniffle, sniffle, he's pinned. Second one. Right, remembering he's firing at 0, so that's no effect. Third one is 2. Their morale's pretty good. Morale 5. No effect. And then 2 on the last guy, who's also got morale 5, no effect. And they all get discarded. He then discards. And I just draw cards back into his hand. I then played that rally 2 card to rally that one dude that got pinned, discarding everything. And that's now leaving me only 2 cards in my hand. Can't really play anything with them. So, it's nice to have 2 alleyways, isn't it? And 2 fire cards I can't use. So in other words, I've got no one moving, and I can't fire with those cards, I've got a hand of boo. Or have I? We're at range 3 here. That gives me 2 firepower from each of these guys. 2 times 5 is 10. I can use that card. Look at that fire strength. That's pretty good. So then looking at, because he's at range 2 and this one's range 1, when you are adjacent groups, you just add the 2 numbers together. If my group A was to fire its group C, you decrease the relative range by 1. So we're at 1 plus 2 is 3. So my LMG's developed 6 firepower. 7, 8, 9, 10. The guy who's crewing up with the LMG can't fire because he's basically feeding ammo to him. I've also got 10 firepower from this group. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait a minute. These cards are actually starting to become useful. Granny and I were using Discord on our phones to chat while we were playing this, and playing, obviously Vassal on here, and it just works so well. I mean, Randy and I had never met in person. We've been, chatting since 2013. And playing games. We played up front. We played a bit of Squad Leader, Advanced Squad Leader. And we dabbled with a few other games, but this is the one we seem to come back to because it plays so nicely. So he discarded and drew a card. I discarded. Now that I've got rid of one of those alleyways, do I want both? No. Again, I've got to keep churn out, but those 2 fire cards, I just worked out. Move and conceal. So for the split cards, so for the Germans, Americans, Italians, British and French, this is a cow card. In other words, nothing, useless. But for the Japanese, the Russians, and I believe that's the Finns, it's a concealment card. Move and concealment. Let's keep moving. Right, okay. Moving on. Randy plays a big fire. This will probably be from his LMG. 6 firepower, generating 3. Remember, my guys are in the open. I play that concealment -1, but it's still 2 firepower. Okay. That's 5-man group. 2 firepower plus 3. He's only got a morale 3. And remember, I don't have a rally card. Second dude, 3 plus 2 is 5. Pinned. Third one, no. That's the building that's gone. 3 men pinned. Ouch. And they're all discarded then. That not nice. Okay. What could I do? And he just draws the cards back into his hand. And then I decide, right, okay, I fired my 10. So from my group over here, my group B, onto his group C, 5 firepower. He played a -2 concealment. And he got 2 guys in there. 5, take away 2 is 3, no effect, and no effect. That big fire card did absolutely diddle. Okay, but I then move in my group A forward, which is a little bit risky because I've got no terrain. Hopefully going to draw something to dive into. And I drew, and I drew a hero card, which you can read it, rally 1 at any time. Even when you're drawing it into your hand, I went, hey, I can rally one of my dudes back. And it's not an action, it's a complete freebie. There he is, rallied. Excellent. So I can carry on filling my hand up. So picked up a sniper. Trenches. Yay, I've got something to hide in. Trenches, I think, are taking the effect of gullies. Yes. And a concealment if he does fire at those dudes. Okay. He fires on them. As they're moving forward. I play that concealment. 5-man group. First man. So let's just go through the odds and modifiers. So he's firing on fire 1 card. I'm moving his adding another one, so it's 2. -2 for the alloy takes it 0, and the concealment takes it to -1. So no effect, definitely no effect with a -5, -3, -4, and a 0. And that's the second building. So there's so far 3 buildings that we've got in play, plus 2 buildings that I've seen that have come out through the card draw. There are 8 buildings in the deck. Got to remember that. So we've seen 5 out of 8. He might have 3 in his hand for all I know. We know from a fact when you're watching my hand, I ain't. And it's only buildings that add towards victory points. So yeah, and at the range where you're at. So discarding all those cards. And he then plays a sniper on me. That was a bit rude, isn't it? A bit rude. So remembering he can do actions and discards, I can only do actions or discards. So he now chooses which man it is, or randomly finds out which man in my group it is. So it's a 5-man group. It's the 4th man, which is my squad leader, Sergeant Zorin, which I suppose makes sense. I'm moving forward, and the actual shot is a 4. So look at that sniper card. 3 to 5 is a pin. So my guy, squad leader, is pinned. Try to show as such. That means that whilst the first round that he's pinned, I'm actually reduced by 1 card in my hand until he's either rallied, or next round, the assistant squad leader takes over temporarily until the squad leader is rallied. So I'm going to be down to 3 cards. He draws cards back into his hand. So I can't really do much other than I had a choice. Do I place those guys that are moving forward into trenches, or I just discard and hopefully get a building? Because that's what I'm after, is the building. I decided to discard and get rid of that sniper out of my hand. So it determines 2-man group. It's the 2nd man. It's the one with the satchel charge. And the effect is even worse than my previous sniper shot. It's a 0. So I thought, well, that's my sniper gone. Because all he needs to do is draw a black 1 or higher. And my sniper is out of the game. So I drew cards, and look what the card I drew. Buildings. I was like, the gamble paid off. I could only have 3 cards, and Randy just discarded. He didn't do a sniper check. I didn't say anything until he drew a card and said, "Why didn't you do a sniper check?" And he sounded, "Oh yeah, it happens. You know, we both know how to play the game. You forget things, you miss things, and you know, doing all these videos that I do. What I do. What I do. I've noticed that yes, you could know a game very well, but you can still miss something or make a mistake or do something slightly incorrectly. So it happens. Back to me. Hey, get rid of the alleyway, and boom, we're in a building. Woo, that's nice. From a victory point of view, okay, if the game ended right at this moment, that group of mine there, my group A, so there's a lot in the building, that's 5 men at range 2 in a building. That's worth 10 points. These ones at range 1, there's 4, that's another 4. That's 14, and these aren't worth anything. Whereas Randy at the present, he's got these 2 men at range 2, so that's 4, and he's got 3 at 1, so that's 7. So I'm in the lead, but it's only part way through first the deck, so a long way to go yet. But that's how the victory points count. Plus, also we both lost 1 man, which adds another 2 points to each total. So yeah, doing well. Okay, so continuing, I put the building into effect. I drew a rally card and another building. So we see scene 5. Now that's scene 7 in that deck. Again, I'm not sure if Randy's got the 8th or the 8th is in the last part of the deck. It hasn't come up yet. Remember, we're in the last now quarter of this first deck. He fires on me again. And don't fire me before I rallied. He did. Fire value of 2. No terrain in effect. 5-man group. First one he rolls a 5 plus 2, 7. Ooh. 1 more point, and that would have been a KIA. So that is a pin. Next guy. Whew. Because he's firing at 2. Next guy's panic is 4, so he doesn't panic. That was close. 3. No, his morale's 5. 3. His morale's 4. 1. His panic is 6. He must be a hero of the Soviet Union. Okay. He draws back into his hand. I play that rally 2, and I rally the 2 weaker guys because the hero of the Soviet Union probably, you know, he's going to take a lot to actually knock him out. Private Fakuta. So let him rest up for a little bit. But that's all I could do. Was the rally. Because I didn't have a movement card. I could have fired the machine gun, but I decided to hold on to that in case he moves. Okay, let's carry on. Let's see what's happening next. So Germans moving forward. Range increases. And drawing more cards into the hand. Okay, so I'm doing some discards. What did I just discard? Those trenches, yeah. And pick up a concealment. Whoop, whoop. Okay, and yeah, they moved into a buildings hex. Hex? No, hex is here. Buildings terrain card. Okay, and Granny's still having problems with his unit. I decided to discard 3 cards. Plan D, E, can't remember. Another hero. That's useful. When you can play these as soon as you draw them. So I'm going to rally. He squad leader. That means I can keep drawing cards. Let's just show what cards I get. And a wire card. Useful. Rally discards and draws. I then decide to play rally. And that's rally 5, but you've got to use what you've got. Okay. And I draw a really useful card. Smoke. Which for me, as the Russians, is rubbish. Useless. Okay. Back to the Germans. He's just discarding and drawing it. So he's gradually changing his hand. I discard the wire card onto the German group. It's not necessarily, reflecting that it is wire. It could be any sort of random event that causes discomfort to the group it's played on. To actually get rid of that wire card, Randy will have to play a movement card. He doesn't move forward or back or out of that train. All it does is the move card is then played to remove the wire. It's like a slight movement within the location that group is in. And I'll just get this card again. I'll pick up a movement and a rubbish fire card. I mean, look at it. What am I supposed to do with this thing? Hey. But 2 movement. I need to get into this building with me group C. That's the ideal position I want to make. German discards card from his hands again. And he draws a card into his hand. Okay, so I do play a movement on my group C. Getting them forward. Now taking us to range 4 here. So we're getting very close to each other. And I draw another movement card into my hand. You did have a fire card. I was hoping to get without being fired at, so because I've got no concealment. So that's going to be fire strength of 3 plus 1 for the moving 4. Ouch. 5-man group. Okay, German draws a. Here we go. Draws her up. Is he? What's he? I'm not sure what's happening here. Hold on, I don't know why it didn't reveal those. Let's just backtrack there. It didn't show them being turned. It just all turned them at one go. Okay. Not sure what happened there on the playback. But yeah, that last one, the 6, kills my best soldier. That's the risk you take when you're moving in the open. At relatively close range, I was hoping to get away with it. And then he plonks a waterway on me as a discard. So my guys were running towards that building that I've got in my hand. And yeah, that's where we're going towards. We get shot at. One of the guys goes down. And before we didn't see it, there was a waterway before the building. And that ends the deck. So we'll just sort all the cards out. Okay. Deck gets shuffled. So that waterway. Ready. Okay, so I want to play the movie. So let me just backtrack that, because I think I'm going to end this video at this point. So I've got to get across that waterway. We're just starting deck 2. That hasn't been turned, though. As far as I remember, it gets turned within the next few card plays. To cross that waterway, I need to play a move card sideways and then do a random number check. So I'm looking at these numbers. It's got to be a black number to forward it. If it's not, if it's a red number, I haven't forwarded it, and it's just discarded. There are some movement cards with the word forward on them, which means you automatically forward the actual waterway. But I haven't got one of them. So I'd have to play one of these cards sideways, draw a number. If it's black, yay. If it's red. So, anyway, let's go back up. Thank you for watching so far. And here I am. Well, that was a little bit of a tussle. And that's what I enjoy about the game. You 1 minute you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to make it. You don't know your opponent's got a fire card. You don't know because he's not going to tell me, oh, I've got a fire card, don't move. So yeah, it creates that tension all the time. You need to get forward, but to go forward, you've got to expose. The Russians only in 4 cards. Ideally, when I move forward, I have a terrain, concealment, a rally, and a move. That's the ideal. And it's very, very rare you get that. So sometimes you've got to take that risk. Anyway, I hope you've been enjoying what I've been doing with this. This making the video, this was quite impromptu. I thought, you know what, we're playing, we've got a log file. I actually asked Randy last week when we played the Mission A again, would he mind me doing a playthrough of what we've actually done? But the play of that one was a bit flawed. I mean, we played it and it came to a conclusion, but we were both a little bit rusty. This one just flowed, and yeah, it's creating, in my mind, actually going back through it again, I think, oh yeah, I did that. I did it. I can't remember everything I did, but it actually, to me, seems quite entertaining, and I hope it's been entertaining for you guys. As I've said in a previous video, if you haven't got this game, it's difficult to find it on eBay, but you can. But Wargame Vault, I think, actually has, you can get the cards printed, you can get the rule books, you can get counters for it. So you can actually build, via Wargames Vault, this actual game. It's a bit pricey, but the amount of fun and replayability you get in this game, it's worth it. So yeah, I advise you to get it, play it. It can play solo. You just don't see all the cards from one side, do your actions, then you reveal the other cards, and if they've got concealment, they block concealment and such forth. And I did that in my scenario A, which I did play solo, and that was about 1.5 years, maybe even 2 years ago. And I promised to do scenario B at some time, and I never got around to it. Now, then I say, me and Randy got talking again. Let's place them up front, and here's scenario B. Hit the like if you could, please. All helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and any comments much appreciated as always. And remember the little ding-a-ling. So until next time, have fun, play games, and yeah, enjoy yourself. Bye, Internet.